Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we're going to continue down the rabbit hole in regards to a video breakdown that myself and Aqua had made the other day, showing that Ripple is indirectly involving themselves with Canton Network technology, Canton Network Rails. We're going to retouch on and recap on that previous highlight where I showed you guys two previous circumstances that involved the Ripple and Canton's technology underlying some of Ripple's involvement. And then that's going to lead us into today's video breakdown where I'm going to show you guys undeniable proof that previous Ripple executives that were just sitting on stage hyping up and talking about XRP and working at Ripple just 8 months ago are now fast forward working as key components to the digital asset ecosystem, i.e. Digital Asset, the company that built Canton, and is now working full-time at Digital Asset. And then show you guys as well another direct involvement that Ripple just made in terms of an investment that trickles down, and underlying this investment sits Canton's technology. So I want to show you guys that all today. Again, none of this is financial advice. You all know that I'm bullish on both XRP and Canton. However, I'm not telling you guys to go out there and buy neither XRP nor Canton. As a matter of fact, don't invest in either digital assets. If you invest in crypto, you're likely to lose all your money. So don't listen to me, right? I'm just here to show you guys research and research only, and you guys can take that research how you please. So starting off here, we're going to go back just 8 months ago. This video still only has 251 views. Shout out to the researchers for this. This is the Real World Asset Tokenization Summit that took place last year. And on stage, we have Odelia, or excuse me, let me get her name correctly because it's a little... We have Aurelia, excuse me, not Odelia, Aurelia Delemis. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly, okay? And she used to work at Ripple for 5 years and 10 months as a Ripple X Partner of Success, the vice president. Okay, so listen to what she said 8 months ago in regards to Ripple and XRP and how all of the components in Ripple are focused on utilizing XRP. Take a second and listen to what she says here.
Is there any role for XRP over here? How would you separate that with the Ripples itself?
So Ripple is really like a digital asset infrastructure for institutions, including banks, asset managers, including DRD. And we're doing that through the Ripple payment product, through XRP Ledger, through the RLUSD, so Ripple USD, and the custody. So we have those 4 products, and they are all using XRP. So for example, in the Ripple payment product, we were talking earlier about what's the use case for stablecoins. Today, the use case for stablecoin is massively USD. So the market makers rebalancing their portfolio. That's the, I don't know the exact number, but I would say 90% of the volume of USD. We're still scratching the surface, but on the cross-border payment, so Ripple is at the forefront of a cross-border payment and leveraging XRP as a bridge asset. In fact, in TradFi, when you were at Bank of New York or Deutsche Bank for me, like we were using USD as a bridge asset. Us, we are using XRP as a bridge asset. Why XRP? Because it's quick, it's fast, it's scalable, 1,500 transactions per second. So that's why, like, it's really about the utility of XRP.
Okay. Yeah. This is not an investment advice. This is not an educational piece of information as well. This is purely for entertainment. And I'm going to ask that question now. Does that mean that we could potentially see some surge in the price of XRP?
So we're quite focused on building the utility of XRP. We're super aligned to that goal for sure, but it's... Yeah,
it's a difficult task to say. Okay, let's
move
it away. Let's move away.
Okay,
I'm gonna go to some even more interesting area. Donald Trump is.
So, she completely avoided the question, but my point here in showing you this is that she did for a fact represent Ripple just a few months ago, head of Ripple X, the head of Ripple X, partnership success. Now, in regards to this post that I put out to you all 2 days ago, make sure that you guys go back and watch it if you haven't already, because it breaks down this entire post in detail. I'm going to read it to you guys. I said here, as an XRP holder for 10 years, my initial investment into XRP was at the end of 2016, rolling into 2017. So it's been 10 years. I pay attention to infrastructure. So why do I hold both Canton Coin and XRP? Many have asked. Pay very close attention. In April 2025, Ripple acquired Hidden Road. now rebranded to Ripple Prime. In August 2025, Hidden Road participated in a live on-chain US Treasury financing transaction on the Canton network. That means that a Ripple-owned prime broker used Canton network rails for institutional collateral movement. Fast forward to early 2026, Ripple Prime becomes an early adopter of BNY's global tokenized deposit services platform. BNY's tokenized solution connects to Goldman Sachs DAP, or digital asset platform. And Goldman Sachs digital asset platform specifically runs natively on the Canton network. So now there are two separate instances, Hidden Road then, now Ripple Prime, owned by Ripple using Canton infrastructure for institutional repo, and Ripple Prime using BNY's tokenized deposits powered by GSDAP, which runs on Canton network. And here's all the documents. So just to show you guys the documents, it says right here, BNY will employ blockchain tech developed by Goldman Sachs to maintain records of customer ownership, select money market funds. Then down here, it mentions liquidity direct and digital asset platforms, the corresponding value of which will be represented through mirrored record tokenization utilizing GSDAP. So it says BNY's liquidity direct platform will utilize GSDAP. Then down here, it says BNY's digital asset platform is created utilizing GSDAP. And we know right here, it says the strategic collaboration now is an early adopter of BNY's tokenized deposit platform. This is directly from Noel Kimmel, president of Ripple Prime, saying that they are adopting this technology from BNY. Okay. And we know GSDAP, which helps support BNY's tokenized deposit platform, is powered by Canton. All right. Then we come over here, and this is the announcement from August 2025, Treasury Financing, Canton Network. You can see right there, it says Hidden Road. So to read this, and by the way, this also is posted from TradeWeb, which just trickles down into today's video breakdown. I didn't even make that connection till now. But this is a document directly from TradeWeb, and it says, Digital Asset in collaboration with a consortium of leading financial institutions today announced the successful completion of a groundbreaking transaction on the Canton Network, marking the first and enabling real-time, fully on-chain financing of U.S. Treasuries against USDC. So this is the first time that it ever had happened, and it happened on Canton. And it says right here, members of the working group on advancing the on-chain initiatives included Hidden Road, right down there at the bottom. Okay. So here, this is physical proof that Hidden Road was involved in this process of utilizing Canton Network's technology. And this happened after Ripple acquired Hidden Road. So again, therefore, a Ripple acquired company utilized Canton's technology directly. So those are the two instances that I had found before. So to continue and read this off, it says, as an XRP holder, I cannot ignore that Ripple has now interacted with Canton Network infrastructure more than once. Once would be a coincidence, but twice, that is purpose-driven and intentional. This doesn't mean that Ripple abandoned XRP Ledger. It means institutional finance is becoming interoperable. It means Ripple is ready to operate in a multi-chain world. And it tells me that the biggest players are quietly aligning infrastructure behind the scenes. When Wall Street builds, I watch where they build, and Ripple with Canton underneath keeps showing up. That's why I'm paying attention to both Canton Coin and XRP. And this is back from the beginning of February. So it's just great to see all of this continue to materialize. So now we continue, and I just put this piece out here. Let's go over to my profile, and I just typed all of this out. I don't want to read it to you guys. It's a little lengthy, but this is crazy. So something very important is quietly forming in the institutional market infrastructure. Let's zoom in. And most people in crypto are completely missing it. TradeWeb is one of the largest electronic trading platforms in the world. The firm operates the electronic marketplaces used by institutions to trade bonds, ETFs, derivatives, and other financial instruments, processing over $1 trillion in trades every single day. This makes TradeWeb part of a core plumbing of the global financial markets. TradeWeb recently led a $31 million Series B funding round into Crossover Markets, the institutional digital asset trading firm behind CrossX, one of the first execution-only cryptocurrency ECNs designed specifically for institutional trading. The purpose of this investment is not simply venture capital exposure to crypto. TradeWeb plans to connect its global institutional client base to CrossX's liquidity through its algorithmic order routing technology. That is important. This is where the infrastructure layer becomes important to understand. TradeWeb's algorithmic order routing technology is not a standalone product, as I was trying to explain to you guys before we started the call. It is a component that sits inside of TradeWeb's broader electronic trade execution platform. That platform is the system institutions use to execute trades, discover liquidity, route orders, and settle transactions across global markets. In other words, the routing technology is simply the engine that determines where institutional orders should go in order to access liquidity and achieve the best execution. When TradeWeb connects CrossX to its platform, the routing system can automatically direct institutional crypto orders towards CrossX liquidity pools. Now here's where Canton enters the picture. We know from a previous announcements, and I took this directly quoted, and I'll show you guys the documents here in just a second. This is a direct quote from TradeWeb. It says in a previous collaboration that leverages Nova Prime's lender-focused product in TradeWeb's electronic trading execution platform built on the Canton network. TradeWeb has publicly confirmed that it is working with Digital Asset and the Canton network to modernize financial market infrastructure, particularly in fixed income and tokenized asset workflows. TradeWeb has already participated in demonstrations involving tokenized U.S. Treasuries and automatic settlement on Canton, and has publicly announced that it operates a validator node on the Canton network. Canton is designed specifically for regulated financial markets, allowing institutions to move assets, collateral, and trades between participants while maintaining privacy, compliance, and deterministic settlement. TradeWeb's electronic trading infrastructure is being integrated into these tokenized financial workflows so that execution, trading, settlement can operate in real time and in an institutional environment rather than legacy batch systems. When you step back and look at the infrastructure, something very interesting appears. TradeWeb operates the institutional trading platform and routing infrastructure, and that routing infrastructure is being used to connect institutional capital to venues like CrossX. TradeWeb is simultaneously participating in the development of tokenized financial infrastructure on Canton, which is designed to power the next generation of institutional settlement and collateral workflows. Ripple then enters the picture through capital allocation. And I'm going to show you guys all of this in the documents here in just a second. Ripple participated as an investor in the crossover markets funding round along firms like DRW, Virtue, Wintermute, and XTX. That means that Ripple is investing in a trading venue that TradeWeb is integrating into its institutional trading ecosystem. There's also another subtle connection that many people overlook. Aurelia Delmas spent nearly 6 years at Ripple helping build the RippleX institutional partnership ecosystem. She is now head of network growth at Digital Asset, the company that built the Canton network. Her role focuses on expanding the institutional adoption of the Canton infrastructure across global financial markets now. This shows that many of the same institutions, liquidity providers, and infrastructure builders are now operating inside the same developing financial infrastructure. TradeWeb is connecting institutional trading to digital asset liquidity venues. Canton is modernizing settlement and tokenized asset infrastructure for regulated markets, and Ripple is investing in the companies that are becoming part of that institutional trading environment. This is how market structure evolves. It does not happen through hype cycles or price predictions. It happens when the underlying plumbing of global finance begins to change and the institutions building those rails start to overlap. Most retail investors constantly watch price charts. Institutions, however, build the infrastructure that moves trillions. And so to show you guys all this in real time, this is directly from TradeWeb 5 days ago, coming from the Chief Product Officer at TradeWeb. As the execution platform connecting liquidity providers and the buy side, TradeWeb is proud to play a central role in these transactions on the Canton network. These transactions mark clear progress towards globally scalable real-time repo activity and reflect both the market's confidence in this model and the tangible momentum behind expanding these cross-border capabilities. So I wanted to show you that directly from Chris Bruner, the Chief Product Officer at TradeWeb, because now, fast forward to today, we see TradeWeb announce this 2 hours ago. TradeWeb enters institutional crypto markets. And here it says, crossover markets, the institutional digital asset trading technology firm behind CrossX, one of the industry's first execution-only crypto electronic communication networks, today announced a successful completion of its $31 million B finance round, or Series B financing round. The round values crossover at 200 million and was led by Tradeweb Markets, a global leader in electronic trading across asset classes, with participation from industry leaders including DRW, Ripple, Virtue Financial, Wintermute Ventures, and XTX Markets. In addition to the investment, Tradeweb plans to provide its global clients with access to Crossover's institutional spot crypto liquidity through Tradeweb's algorithmic order routing technology. And that's what I was trying to explain to you guys. The Tradeweb algorithmic order routing technology sits inside an entire stack of the overall Tradeweb technology, right? And so we know right here, this also says this collaboration marks Tradeweb's entry into the institutional crypto and a natural next step in our multi-asset strategy, said Billy Hult, CEO of Tradeweb. Institutional investors are increasingly turning to crypto to express macro views and manage risk in a 24/7 global market environment. As adoption grows, the market needs trusted institutional grade infrastructure. Through this planned integration, I like that, right? Because we've heard Yuval say that all of this was planned years in advance. It says through this planned integration with Crossover, our goal is to extend Tradeweb's electronic trading execution standards into crypto with liquidity, transparency, and discipline to our clients. If we come over here to May 29th, 2025, it says right here, Tradeweb's electronic trading execution platform, which this Tradeweb electronic trading execution platform houses inside of it as a component the algorithmic order routing technology. We know this is built on Canton. It says right here, this collaboration seamlessly integrates Tradeweb's best-in-class, pay attention to that vocabulary, I highlighted it in purple, best-in-class electronic trade execution technology with our loan intelligence platform, a major step forward increasing efficiencies and cost savings for our lenders and ultimately making home ownership more affordable. Then down here, it says, built on the Canton network, the solution aims to assist mutual clients of Nova Prime and Tradeweb with reducing risks and hedging costs by offering automated hedging tools and integrating trading connectivity to Tradeweb. We are pleased to provide Nova Prime with access to our deep pool of mortgage liquidity to enhance and streamline mortgages and the hedging process by leveraging the Canton network. So there's now two confirmations that they're using Canton. We're aiming to unlock new efficiencies across mortgage markets as Tradeweb is looking to do and other markets as well. This is a strong example of how innovation can bridge traditional mortgage markets with growing digital asset ecosystems. And so now if we come over here, remember that key vocabulary, Tradeweb's best-in-class electronic trade execution technology, and we know this trade execution technology houses different components. Those components can be found over here on their website. I'm not going to go over that in detail today, but it's all here on the documents, okay? This component, the algorithmic order routing technology, sits inside the overall tech stack of the electronic trade execution tech. And look at what Aurelia Delmas 3 months ago said about this technology. This is directly on her LinkedIn profile. And it says here, the moment institutional markets go 24/7, when Tradeweb, the world's leading electronic trading platform for bonds, ETFs, and derivatives, processes over $1 trillion in trades every day, calls Canton Network the best in class. So she reiterated this terminology from the document. That's not noise, that's a signal. The Canton Network partnership is very, very important to us because we see the best in class there and real potential partners with us in the evolution of that marketplace becoming more institutional. As fixed income products follow that route around tokenization and 24/7 liquidity, we're going, said Billy Hult, Tradeweb CEO. Tradeweb is using Canton to move the global bond market from batch to real time, proving that tokenized finance is no longer theoretical. This is now market structure quietly changes. This is how market structure quietly changes. When the global venue that powers the bond market plumbing embraces tokenization with privacy, compliance, and automatic finality, it is no longer a pilot. It is the foundation of the next era of finance. Mind you, again, okay, this is all coming directly from this lady's LinkedIn profile. And I'll wrap it up here by showing you guys that this lady worked at Ripple as the Ripple X Partner Success VP for 5 years and 10 months and just started working as the head of network growth, EMA, MENA, and the APEC region at Digital Asset. has been working there for 6 months. So that means that if we go back to this post here, okay, 8 months ago, 2 months after she was sitting on stage touting up Ripple, who knows what took place, but something in her brain was like, okay, I'm not going to work at Ripple anymore. And where did she go choose to work at? Digital asset, the individuals that created the Canton network. I don't think that this is coincidence at all. And another thing I'll show you if you scroll down a little bit further, where was she also working at? APAC head of FX services at BNY Mellon. What do we know? With the connection I just showed you guys with BNY Mellon's tech stack, Ripple acquiring or as an early adopter of BNY Mellon's digital asset technology platform that sits underlying on the GSDAP that sits on the Canton network. These connections are not by accident. They are all planned, in my personal opinion. And again, take that for what you will. But this to me shows undeniable proof that to some extent, individuals even at Ripple that used to work there know what's up with Canton Network. All right. So that's my presentation. I had a couple more documents to share with you guys today just to show you all how the underlying tech stack of this technology, the trade execution technology, has multiple different components in it, including this algorithmic order routing technology. And you guys can just go over to TradeWeb's website and all the documents are here and it shows you all the different components of each of this trading technology that TradeWeb has to offer. All right. So I'll save it for today's video breakdown. That's all that I have for you guys. Remember, none of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and invest in XRP or Canton Coin. I'm just here to show you guys that the research, the devil's in the details. All right. So take it for what you will. With that being said, many blessings to you guys. That's all that I have for you all today. For those of you all in the recording, I'll stop this and I'll leave the floor open for questions, comments, and just general conversation. And yeah, we'll wrap up today's call. The floor is open, you guys and gals.